Hi, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. Today I'm turning a pair of 2-inch marine shafts and I'm using my tracer attachment. And I figured it'd be a pretty good chance to give you a little glimpse of actually how my tracer attachment works and seeing it in action. What we have in place down here, of course, is a 2-inch mandrel, and I have a mandrel that in the earlier days of getting this lathe and setting up the taper attachment, and after proving it could do what I needed to do as far as marine shafting going, I created these mandrels. And there's a nub diameter, which is at the end where the cotter pin goes through, your thread diameter, and then the taper for each size in shafting up to 2-inch. After 2-inch in size, I have a master taper, is what I call it, and I can create shafting above that by using the master taper just for the tapered section. I also can flip and run this in the opposite direction, and this lets me bore tapers for propellers and whatnot. Alright, down here is the power supply for the tracer attachment. Well, she is filthy down here, but this is the power supply, and you basically have your switch control here, electric motor, your hydraulic pump is down into the sump. You have one gauge here. There's no control or anything else other than turning it on and off right here. Now this tool block was only mounted straight forward. The tool bit would only be straight in here like this, and there's a pin and a hole underneath here, and I've rotated this around, and I gave this multiple positioning in this position here or straight forward. I've learned in machining the tough materials like the Aquamet and how I wanted to approach it with my tool bit and how it come in and continuously cut from where I needed to cut from. I found that this position here worked fine. So I do have a couple different angles that I can put this block, and all my 1-inch tooling fits right in here to be right on center line. So, and this, you don't have to have fancy a Loris or any of your taper locks on this side here. You just basically need to hold your tooling on center line, and it pretty well stays in 1 or 2 different positions. There's not a whole bunch of changing around, so that's why there's no necessity for a fancy tool block. But that's basically all this is doing, is holding this inserted tool here. Now the whole unit mounts right on the carriage top, so it moves in and out when you move the cross slide of the table. And this also, the hydraulic control, is with one lever here to engage or disengage. Right now it's on the disengage or full out travel of the hydraulics. Now to bring this in position and get ready to go and bring the little foot down here against the material, you flip the lever like that and it comes in and engages. This arm right here goes underneath and has a little plunger in here on the back of this little spool valve in here. That little spool valve was all gunked up and clogged up and everything else when I first got this thing, so I had to take this thing down to parade rest and just really clean it up and then put it into use. So you got that motion as far as engaging and disengaging your hydraulic attachment itself. Now this knob or dial right here is for your in and out feed, which is just going down in here to a 90-degree or bevel gear, transfer over to a lead screw in the center, and then brings your tool bit in and out. So you got your increments right there. So each pass that gives you your travel in and out. Okay, here's another angle shot of disengaging this lever here, and then the action against the spool valve over here. Now I can reach in here with my finger and I can push on the lever itself, and that controls. That's how sensitive that really is. Now your pattern centers are back here mounted on the lathe. They have a giant precision sliding mount, T-nut slots down behind these flanges. These flanges are keyed in position there. They have threads on this post right here, and it can slide back and forth, and they have a lock handle that also locks a detent, keeps the things straight up and down at a 90. And then you have threads here to adjust your center points in and out. And that's what gives you the full adjustment for the back of the lathe here. Here's looking down at the forward one, and you see the center in there, and this, you know, these are duplicate mounts down here. Now here I'm moving the handle so it moves back and forth. You can see how it comes in and touches the part. Okay, now I'm going to physically just, you can just take your finger and just barely push that wherever you want it. You can control it. When you bring your finger in, it follows you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with a couple cuts here. And we bring it in, bring our cut in here close. Run enough diameter. We're going to set our travel dial at 0 point, so when we pull out of here and come back to our start, we're on here, we could be cutting over here, come away from our part, come down back, roll our carriage back, and then come back into the start. Alright? When you're using this tracer attachment, you are rotating the lathe in reverse, and you're working your feeds and everything else reverse in direction in relationship to your cutter. Created a flat pattern bar that mounts between the centers. There's a center on that end and a center on this end here, and the height of those are in line with keeping that stylus connecting with the part or the little pattern that I bolt onto here. And I have a handful of little different circles, diameters, so I can control radiuses. A scallop or a female. I also am able to clamp on hand cut shapes like this handle grip that was made for the glass mold sections that I made for McDermott Studios sometime. And here's a few pictures of using the flat patterns in that job. general idea of how the tracer attachment works on my lathe, and I'm going to get back to this casting job here. You have a nice day. Either done.